Hello, everyone, and welcome to this Tom's Hardware Live from CES / Innovation Week. We are here. We are just waiting for some more folks to filter in. I always give it a few seconds, but we're on live with Tom Butler from Lenovo, who has with him the very latest and greatest ThinkPads uh, to discuss. And of course, I want to remind everyone who's viewing us live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, or Twitch that we are taking your questions live, and we're very happy to pose them to Tom, who will answer them. So, and I'm Abram Pilch, our Tom's Hardware Editor in Chief, joined as frequently by Andrew Friedman, and
Hello.
our senior editor Andrew Friedman. How are you guys doing? How's your CES been so far?
Well, I can't complain. I'm not in Las Vegas standing in a long line with tired feet. But no, candidly, we miss being at CES because we can't, have you put your hands on these devices, feel the weight, feel the thinness. A lot of the things that we're doing here or announcing at CES are hardware based. And so you really need to feel, touch, experience them. And, the part of the privilege of being at CES is you're able to also see and experience other things. So again, missing the experience I can gather from CES, but not missing, the fatigue, et cetera, from being in Las Vegas.
Yeah, that's the that's the thing. There's always some secret stuff that we find when we're, someone who's showing something at a booth that they shouldn't, someone who's not in PR that tells us something off the record or on the record that they shouldn't, things like that, or just stuff that we wander by and or things like there are things we would cover at CS that now we don't because it's just not as interesting if we're not there. So, things that are a little bit more off topic for us that somebody might have, like, hey, we can do a really cool video with this. Now it's not the same. But what is really cool are the new line of ThinkPad X series laptops that have come out, and I know you've got all of them here. So let's talk about that. What's new with ThinkPad X series?
Yeah, so you're really excited about the announcements. And, so our X1 line is our flagship line of the portfolio. And we did some announcements this past quarter. In 2020, we unveiled the world's first foldable PC, the X1 Fold. We also unveiled the lightest weight ThinkPad that we'd ever released, the X1 Nano. And today we're further expanding our X1 line with the thinnest ThinkPad that we've ever released, the X1 Titanium. And, we're very pragmatic in our names. X1 Carbon because it's made of carbon fiber, X1 Yoga because it does a yoga form factor or has multi-modes, X1 Titanium because it's made of titanium. We have a titanium cover on this device. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the thought behind the creation of the X1 Titanium and what we're trying to solve. And it's to go after and target some of the pain points associated with detachables. So if you think about a detachable product, it's a tablet with a detachable keyboard, and there's the challenge of what do you do with a keyboard when you're not using it, when you would go and just want to use the tablet? Do you put it under your arm? Do you put it in your bag? You always want to carry it with you because you may want to put it back together and use the device. So when we looked at the X1 Titanium and really that target towards that radically thin system from a ThinkPad perspective, is we wanted to go after that detachable use case. So it's a 13.5 inch display, 3:2 screen ratio, and part of that reason is to go after that tablet space. So it really is sort of optimized around this, because when I go into tablet form factor, it's about the size of an 8.5 by 11 or A4 paper. So I'll actually use that 8.5 by 11 paper model. So what that gives me is a full screen real estate to use, of course, with inking and pen. But the beauty of it is we've optimized the chassis for that tablet use. So now you see I've got a very thin closed lid, matched nicely with top to bottom. Whereas typically when you fold back, a convertible device, notebook, into a tablet mode, you've got a little bit of spacing in between there. So we wanted to create a very thin, very lightweight tablet optimized form factor with this new X1 titanium in order to give you that tablet optimized experience without the penalty of carrying the keyboard with you. So not only is it super thin, but it's also super light. Comes in around a little over 2.5 pounds in weight. So again, really excited about this. Of course, the pen, most of the pens I include in the portfolio are on board, but this one we anticipate heavier inking, so we include a full size or full diameter pen that magnetically attaches to the side of the chassis. So you've always got that inking capability when you want it in this very small, very thin, and again, very lightweight form factor. So I'll just do a little hero shot here for you, even as I hold this up. So I wish I could, again, this is one of the times where I wish I could be in person with you so you could actually feel, touch, and see how thin this device is.
That is really thin. So when are we expecting the titanium to launch, and do we have a sense of what the launch price might be?
Yes. So I'm gonna mess up on the pricing, so I won't give that to you. But the launch will be this quarter. So we're going to launch this in, and a couple of things about this. It will be we'll have 5G options on this platform. Of course, 4G and Wi-Fi only. But that's another one of the areas that we've really focused on is dialing up the experience around the connectivity, the portability of the device. A lot of this has been driven, of course, by COVID and what's happened, sort of how we've transformed the way we work with devices. Where you've got the traditional at the office or maybe on the go. Now we've really transformed into a hybrid model where we're working from home, of course, working on the go, and back into the office once we get out of the COVID environment that we're in. So we wanted to look at optimizing really our entire range. In fact, the entire lineup of the X1 platforms are 5G enabled. And so that's one of the areas we're really pressing on in terms of not only the mobility of the device, but also the connectivity of the device.
One thing I see just as perhaps a sacrifice of going so thin is that the titanium appears to have a lot fewer ports than you usually see on a ThinkPad, right? So the two Thunderbolt 4 looked like a locked slot and a headphone jack.
Yes.
On the one hand, that's kind of something you got to make when you go portable, but on the other hand, oftentimes I think of these business laptops as having tons of ports. So when you're doing research on what the business community wants for a vPro notebook, do you find a lot of them are willing to give up those ports, or is this going to be very popular with a docking solution? How does that work?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, Andrew. So, part of that is to provide that broad range of choice. And so I've got several different vectors I can play with. I can play with the mobility, the thinness, the lightness, or I can also add back in ports, features, et cetera. And so it's really offering that broad range of choice. All of these are going to be Thunderbolt 4 or USB-C connected. So I've got twin Thunderbolt ports, Thunderbolt 4 ports on the side. And as you mentioned, AV and then power, of course, fingerprint reader, IR camera for security or authentication and login. One of the things we've done, though, is to solve for that lack of ports, or how do I deal with ports on the go, is we've created a very, very small port replicator that you can carry. And again, I'll just put it maybe across the touchpad to show you sort of how small this is. But this gives you the quick access to full-size HDMI, of course, power pass-through, twin USB-As, and SD card reader. And it has a captive USB, a flexible USB-C dongle or rather cable on the side. So this gives you, a very quick on the go, very pocketable, extremely lightweight way to solve for some of those ports. And then, of course, I can support the wide range of cable docks that we have. So we've moved our entire portfolio over to USB-C several years ago, and we've broadened our range of USB-C docks, Thunderbolt docks, so you get that one cable. And in fact, our monitors that we're coming out with have that single cable coming out, can provide 65 watts of power delivery to the laptops, and again give you that one. I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan, so I'll say the one cable to rule them all with the power, video, and data into the device and chassis. Now, that being said, I'll show you in a couple of moments our Carbon and Yoga. We're continuing to offer that full range of ports because, Andrew, to your point, we've got some that are willing to go super thin, super light. Some others that still want that tremendous benefit of the weight, but they also need the ports with them at all times without worrying about carrying something extra with you. I'll go into a little bit more, and let's continue the questions, of course, but I've actually taken apart a titanium to show you a little bit more about the thinness, because we're going to be at a point, sort of, and I'll put these side by side so you can see, where I'm not going to be able to get much thinner than this without sacrificing or compromising on the usefulness or utility of the device. So I'll pull up, this is my thermal solution, but you've got basically no stacking in the chassis. So I've got a very, very small motherboard. In fact, it's smaller than the size of a mobile phone. And then my wireless WAN card, my SSD on top of that keyboard, but effectively nothing stacked on that keyboard because I still want to have that fantastic travel, the feel that you experience with a ThinkPad. And then battery below that. So in order to add more ports, you generally you're gonna have to make the chassis a little bit thicker, because I've gone down to a point where I can't put a full-size HDMI or I can't put a full-size USB-A. And so that's one of the trade-offs we did, again, thinking about the use for this device, which is more tablet pen optimized and that extreme portability, but again, not giving up on the utility of the product as well. Like I said, I'm at a point, you get into that 11 to 13 millimeter range. If you go much thinner than that, you're going to sacrifice either the build quality, the keyboard travel, or you're going to give up on some other element of that. And I would say from a ThinkPad perspective, we pride ourselves foundationally as a high quality build, from a ThinkPad perspective, but also the utility and usefulness of the device, because we anticipate and expect our users to use these, all the time for multiple years throughout their work or home life.
Great. So that's obviously a brand new model, but you've also done some refinement to some of the existing carbons. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely. So again, really excited. There are a couple of things that are going on in the industry. One is we've started to open up the aperture on different display sizes, and so this was a 3.2 that allowed me to get to that natural A4 or 8.5 by 11 paper size from a form factor. But we're also seeing the return of 1610 displays, and I'm super thrilled about this from a PC perspective. Historically, as we were coming out of the 4.3 way back, we were moving into widescreen displays, and we moved into 1610, the ThinkPad product portfolio. However, driven by the TV industry, there's this hard drive to push to 16:9 widescreen, and we really were against that. We didn't like the reduction in height, because I'm giving up space for toolbars, for rows, for menus, etc., all for the ability to go widescreen with reduction of letterbox, or go into a full image viewing for content consumption. But we're very much on the content creation side. So as we've started coming back in with different screen ratios, the return of 1610, we launched with our X1 Nano this past fall, and now we're bringing 1610 into our X1 Carbon and X1 Yoga. So thrilled about that. One of the things that we've done with this, though, is really keep the footprint that we had generation to generation. So what I've ended up with is I've squeezed in a 1610 into that, roughly a 16:9 form factor. So I just get more screen real estate, super small bezels, four-sided, maintain the weight of the chassis. So still that very, very thin and light, 2.5 pound chassis. Maintain the ports as well. So those twin Thunderbolts, full-size HDMI, full-size USB-As. Of course, also now adding 5G. So there's really a tremendous benefit that I brought to this product and chassis, really with both the Carbon and the Yoga. Again, focusing on that, how do I move into that hybrid working model where we eventually will be back into cafes, we'll eventually be back on airplanes and traveling. And so I want to make sure that we're ready for that. But also focusing on the ability to hold virtual conferencing or have a conference solution as well. So we are also introducing on these two the first PCs in market with Dolby Voice. So I want to talk a little bit about that. We've for several years have been partnering with Dolby, enhancing our speaker systems. So we have Dolby Atmos speaker systems with 4 speakers. We've got 4 microphones across the top that give you the ability to have omnidirectional or a directional microphone experience. Have the ability to tune out noise, keyboard noise, and noises around you. Dolby Vision panels to have that the Dolby Vision content displayed accurately with the correct color rendering, and now Dolby Voice. And so what Dolby Voice does is it uses those microphones and becomes aware of the noises around the system. And for example, if you're in a conference call, let's say, or in a conference room with multiple speakers, it will actually detect where the speakers are located in the room and amplify if someone's quiet. Let's say they're away from you, it will actually bring up that voice so they can be clearly heard. And what's more interesting, to me at least, is when you're listening to that conference room, if someone's speaking on the left side, the voice will come in from the left side, or the right side come into the right side. So it creates a very, very natural experience, and really creates a stereo versus a mono experience, which is what we all experience today. So it's a pretty incredible, more natural user experience. It's less fatiguing, and probably one of the most interesting things is it also separates the voices out, so you're not stepping on each other or colliding. So many times we're on conference calls and we'll say, "Oh, I'm sorry, you were speaking." You create that separation between the users or the speakers. So it's an incredible new technology we've been working on with Dolby. So again, if we were at CES, I'd love for you to be able to hear and experience it. But as soon as you can, and as soon as you can get your hands on these, I'll be excited about that.
Yeah, that's great. So you've also updated the X1 Yoga, correct?
Yes. So let's talk about this guy. So really, I call these my twins. I've got my Carbon in carbon fiber, and I've got my all aluminum chassis, CNC aluminum chassis with my X1 Yoga. Similar story in terms of the 1610, of course, Dolby Voice, inclusion of 5G in this chassis as well. And then another thing we've done with this one, if I focus down on the keyboard, is we've tuned the color. And so it's still an all metal chassis, but we've gone to a little bit more of a neutral blue tone we call storm gray. The previous gen had a little bit of a more of a redder or brown tone underneath. And then we've also gone to a color matched keyboard here as well. So a tonal matched keyboard. So you'll see traditionally I've had black keyboard with the metal chassis. Now I've gone to a tonal gray to match that as well.
I remember the days when people would say you wouldn't find a ThinkPad in anything but black.
That's right. Exactly. Well, it gets back to, Andrew, the need for choice, or the desire for choice. We were very, very, very careful about, when and how we would introduce colors. We actually tested for a couple of years. We tested in market candidly a black ThinkPad painted silver, and you can probably guess how that went. Not very well received, because it was really all about the authenticity of material. And so if you think about, the black ThinkPad is our color. We're very much recognized by the color. And as we went into the different choice of materials, it's really bringing out that authenticity. And now what we've done, with the CNC chassis, is really start to refine not only of course, the utility of it, bringing in the features, but also the aesthetic look of it as well. So again, very excited about this. Of course, being yoga, it goes into the multiple modes and postures. I have the onboard pen as well. And again, this one, as I talked earlier with the titanium, we anticipate people to use this for more anecdotal inking with pen on board that charges as you dock it into the chassis, versus the titanium, which is more full size, which is a full size pen for more ergonomically correct inking long term or long periods of time. So again, just offering those choices. Again, that full range of ports that we talked about on this chassis as well. So you really, as I said, I've really expanded out the X1 line to make sure that I've got different use cases covered across the product sets that we're launching in market.
Great. And now I know you also have a complete detachable.
Yes. So, earlier I talked with the titanium. I said, hey, I'm going to solve the problem of the detachable. But here's what's funny. There are still many people that want and use the detachable and are perfectly okay with having the keyboard to detach away, and are looking for that optimal tablet form factor. And so what we've done is we've done a complete redesign of our detachable, and this being the X12 detachable, again, pragmatically named because it's a 12-inch screen. And the key with this is we wanted to create the smallest tablet form factor that gives you the performance, the connectivity, the utility of the device, yet can dock to a full-size keyboard. And so that we were able to go into a 12-inch screen size to get you that ultimate in small portable tablet. Again, this also uses the magnetically attached full-size pen, and we also include a pen loop on the keyboard as well. So you have, fantastic travel keyboard, of course, the detachable capability, and the ability to go into a near lay flat mode that allows me to, ink, draw, or of course consume content as well with this. So, very excited about bringing this product into this space. We've had detachables. In fact, our detachable we're sunsetting is the X1 tablet, which is a little bit larger size. If you recall, it was a 13-inch chassis. And as we looked at optimizing and solving for the detachables, again, we wanted to create that X1 titanium to go after is thin, radically thin, yet tablet optimized as we could. And then for the true detachable, we wanted to go after the best, most portable tablet form factor.
Wow.
So for the detachable, I remember the tablets, having seen quite a few of them, but it's been maybe 2 or 3 years since we saw like a true refresh of that one.
Yes.
And I think that's been the case for many a company, that they kind of saw the Surface Pro had its moment, and then a number of other Microsoft partners went and made their versions. What makes now the time to come back to the detachable?
Yeah, so Andrew, that's a great question. So we've been, of course, monitoring this market for quite some time, and sort of watching, what are the trends, what are the growth areas, and as ThinkPad is really a brand that can serve all markets, all customers, whether you're consumer. I mean, candidly, we're all consumers, into small, medium business, into large and global businesses. And when we look, sort of across that spectrum, we have, especially on the large enterprise or large corporations, there are quite a few vertical industries that want to use that tablet. So if you have any kind of field work, if you have insurance claims, adjusters, healthcare workers that are looking for something small, portable, has a world-facing camera, so you could actually take images of something in the field, perhaps send or ink quickly some notes to it, and then come back to that keyboard to allow you to complete that workflow. That's one of the areas we see that tablet growth continue, that detachable tablet growth continuing to grow. And then again, what's happened with the detachable, just in general terms, is some people love it. Some people absolutely love the form factor. They love the freedom, the flexibility of quickly coming, off the keyboard, carrying an optimized tablet. And so really wanted to solve for both of those, give you a very nice, lightweight, portable device, and then give you that, again, that capability with the fantastic keyboard experience as well.
So I know
sorry, I do have one more about that. The X12, which is just why is it? I mean, I understand it's 12-inch device, but the titanium yoga is not an X13 and a half. The carbon's not an X14.
Yes.
So why for the detachable go that route?
Yeah, so the X1, the X1 is our flagship, and then if you look into our mainstream offerings, we have the X series and T series. T series traditionally more that 14-inch, 15-inch class. X series is our ultra portable line. So historically, in the 12-inch class, moved into 13-inch. So we've had sort of that bifurcation of our mainstream portfolio, using those two brand identifiers. So when we looked at the detachable, so I'm bringing that X1 titanium in my flagship line. So we wanted to bring in a mainstream offering in the X series class. So that's the reason for the X12.
Okay, so it's not in the X1 line.
Correct. So you'll see, there'll be some separation from a pricing perspective on these two products.
So I know you have one more thing, is something I'm really excited about, which is augmented reality glasses.
Oh, yes, indeed. So, the future is so bright. I've got to wear shades, something like that. Should be in Vegas right now. So let's talk about this a little bit. So what we are introducing here at CES, or talking about, let me just put these on for a second, just for effect. So I'm now wearing the world's most versatile enterprise augmented reality glasses, the Think Reality A3. And so what this is it is an augmented reality or mixed reality. It provides, I could see you when I was wearing the glasses. So you have real world with a digital overlay. So I can put content over top of this display. What we've gone for, or what we've designed with these glasses, are a very lightweight, very comfortable to wear set of augmented reality glasses that allow you to accomplish a couple of things, either looking at it from an industrial workflow perspective, or as a wear the device from a PC perspective. It gives me an extension of the PC. You'll note that the glasses are tethered, and so you have two choices. You have either the ability to tether to a PC, or the ability to tether to a Motorola phone. And so with a PC edition, what this gives me is the ability to put up multiple virtual monitors. And so I can actually put up to 5 monitors. And I think, Avram, you have 4.
But my wife said I can't get a 5th because it would take up too much space. So if I had that,
there you go. So you'd be in good shape. So because what I'm looking through with these glasses, I don't have it powered on right now, of course, but what you would experience is the ability to manipulate 5 different monitors coming off of your PC, driven by the glasses, and I'm looking through dual 1080p lenses. So I'd have nice resolution monitors up in front of me, and again, because of the weight, I've got a very comfortable set of glasses that I could wear for some time. The other benefit is, of course, you can't see what I'm looking at. So there's also an element of security. So I could run this off of my laptop, my workstation, my desktop, and then put content up that I perhaps I want to watch or review. So I was thinking through, if I'd been flying to Las Vegas for CES, I could have been sitting on a plane, plug this into my PC, and actually look at content, perhaps sensitive content, while traveling with no worry about what's anybody looking over or trying to grab a peek of my ThinkPad roadmap, as an example. So it's a pretty incredible experience once you try this. And then from an industrial perspective, again, tethered to a phone, now we're looking at in the field. You've got, if you're looking for either your repair work or some kind of update where you need to see digital content overlaid on top of an object or device, you've got the capability, because with our software, we've got built-in object and image recognitions, and you can even do 3D visualizations running the software. So if you've got an object in front that it recognizes, I could manipulate, look at, service, as an example. So it gives me a quick on-the-fly or on-the-go, very, very portable solution with these glasses. And then keeping in mind that industrial use, we've got several different options. I've got, of course, wraparound eye protection that I can attach to the lens or to the devices. And then from a comfort perspective, so we've thought through, okay, so not one size doesn't fit all. So I've got adjustable earpieces, I've got adjustable nose clip, and I've even got prescription lenses that I can attach inside. So if you need to wear glasses, you could actually clip these in on the inside of the glasses as well. So really excited about these. These are going to come out in the mid-year to second half of 2021. So what we're announcing here really is this, sort of the platform, the Think Reality software platform that gives you that 3D recognition. It also includes voice and gesture enablement as well. So you really you can start unpacking a lot of different use cases for this very lightweight portable solution.
So why are there separate models for mobile and for the PC? Because I understand they both use the same Qualcomm Snapdragon processor. So is there engineering inside that changes what is needed for the two of them?
No, it's the same. We're just two different flavors, same chassis, same Qualcomm XR1 platform, same hardware built around it. We're offering different feature sets, like I said, okay, with some of the industrial application as well.
And why is it? I mean, I understand Lenovo. I believe Lenovo owns Motorola, but is there any specific reason it has to be tied to a Motorola phone?
That's just what our development platform is based on at this point. Of course, okay, we will expand over time. But if you think about the early stages, early phases of where we are, we're just we started with our our own handsets, and we'll expand, of course.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So is there going to be any software available by default, or is it everything's going to have to be custom made by the person or company who buys it?
Yeah, so our Think Reality software platform is going to be available and made with the chassis. We're working with different ISVs or software vendors that can plug into our platform, because we're basically going to create an agnostic layer that you can bring different solutions into. So we're developing out different use cases. Looking candidly, this is a more commercial focus, but looking at industrial applications and verticals that we go target, whether it's manufacturing, field work, et cetera. Launch this product, we will have ready to go solutions. We do anticipate further customization that may be further refined, but we'll have some ready to go software packages available as we launch this in the market.
Fantastic. Do we know roughly how much it's going to cost yet?
Pricing, we haven't disclosed pricing yet on this platform.
Will it be less than 5 monitors?
Depending on how large the monitors are. I'll answer it that way.
Yeah, I guess it depends on the monitors.
Yes.
Anyway, I want to thank Tom for joining us. You can see more about these new Lenovo laptops and glasses on tomshardware.com, where we've covered them. And of course, we've got shows like this all week. So if you're on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and you'll get alerted. Thank you very much to Andrew for joining us and Tom, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.
Sounds great.